Alright guys, welcome back to another Master and Apprentice video and podcast. As you guys can see today, if you're on video, we've got a guest. You can follow him at, he's over there. So, go subscribe to his YouTube channel and his Twitch and his Instagram. He's over there. We're going to be talking about Invincible Season 3. We just finished the finale. We all watched it together. It had high expectations. Season 1 was one of the biggest animated TV shows, especially adult TV shows, ever. Season 2 was a bit of a drop-off, and so everyone thought, what could Season 3 be? Could it be a return to form? Is it more of a downhill trend? And I gotta say, out of the gates, the finale was amazing, and in totality, Season 3 was very, very good. We're not going to go into too many spoilers because it's still very fresh, but I'll let everyone else give their thoughts before we break it down anymore.
Well, I definitely think that the animation, looking at from the beginning of this season up to now, is definitely, I think it's at its peak right now, because we could see, especially in movement with, the backgrounds and flight and, hair, even hair movement is so much better.
Yeah, I mean, the animation sometimes looks a little potato, and then you see some clips where they just make complete mistakes, drop the ball, which happens every once in a while, but the finale looks like the entire rest of the season's budget put into that one, because the fight scenes were just crispy. It was great. I mean, loved every part of this season, honestly.
I think the biggest deficit is its animation, and it seems like from episode 1 of season 3 to the finale, it just kind of got better and better. It seemed like the bigger and more grandiose fight scenes that appeared, right, from the Powerplex, then to the Invincible War, to the Conquest battle, that each time the animation got better and better. Because I thought the Invincible War animation was better than the last couple episodes we had seen, and then I thought the finale with Conquest was by far the best animation. I thought it was season 1 peak with Omni-Man and Mark. It was very good animation. Again, in totality, I think season 3 is very good. I think it pays off a lot of, threads that are being set up. It does a very good job of setting things up, and while there's lots of build-up for, different plots, I feel like they do a good job this season of pacing. I thought sometimes season 2, they would focus a whole episode on a thread that they're trying to build up, and it would feel like a filler, whereas this season, they took their time with each episode to, grow the plots, but also bring in some more grandiose plots, right? They made everything tie in together very well. The pacing was a lot better this season than I think others.
One thing I really liked about the no spoilers here, they really left a lot of different directions that the next season could go. It doesn't seem like it's going to be one exact thing where, this is the next thing that it's setting up. There's 5 different places that it could go, and of course it'll probably be a little this episode, little in that episode, but it really gets you on your toes, because it's not like the ending to the second to last episode where where the last episode is going to pick up. Season 4, it could start in one way and end somewhere completely different, and that's if you only focus on Earth and don't think about where Omni-Man and Alan are, and they're in their own plot somewhere else, and they left a bunch of threads open-ended on Earth itself. There's a lot of places this can go, and I really haven't disliked any random episode, any filler episodes they put in so far, so I'm excited to see each and every one of those gaps be closed later on.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's a step up. I think it's, for all intents and purposes, a return to form from season 1. It's very well done, and it's something that I'm excited about, but we're not going to be able to really attest to it too much until it happens, is the speed of which they're going to be producing. They're already in the middle of producing and getting ready for season 4. Robert Kirkman, who's, I don't know if he's the director or showrunner, definitely not a showrunner, but I think he might be part of the writer. He's obviously the author of the comic, right? He was also part of the team for The Walking Dead, both the show and the comic as well. He came out and said that their goal was to have these pretty much 1 year. He says that they're expecting season 4 to be early 2026. So a year at the most, less than a year, 9 months at the best case scenario, which is great. I think it should never be more than a year. I think a year is reasonable, right? I think if you go too fast, sometimes you have burnout. So I think years reasonable, right? A lot of things can happen in a year, but I don't think too many things can happen in a year. So I think that's a really good thing that they can have working with them, because from season 1 to 2, they had a 2.5 year delay. And I think that's too much, right? You don't want that much because people forget, they lose the hype. A year, I don't think is too bad. So I'm very excited for that. But again, we're going to have to wait until it actually is happening. We can only be excited as much as we are now until it comes to true. Anything else, Elijah or Afton?
I'm just really hopeful that they'll be able to keep up this better animation that we've been seeing the last couple episodes. Just really hopeful that they don't fall back on old JPEG Mark going up and down on the screen, show his flying.
Yeah.
These last two episodes were absolutely amazing. I just hope that they keep using that budget.
Yeah. Something that is really nice about this show is, while it's not a one-to-one adaptation from the comics, like it's very, very similar, but they do a very good job of bringing the human element. Sometimes comics have a hard time of like attaching themselves to a human person point of view, right? Sometimes they're just too big and grandiose. You read a Thor comic and it's super cool because it's mystical, but it doesn't really, it's not a true testimony to the human eye, right? Like, it's about gods and lords, right? And a lot of superhero comics are like that. Something that I think this Invincible show does a really good job, especially with its gore, is that it's supposed to feel very serious. Sometimes The Boys, right, which is another one of those superhero shows that's R-rated adult, I sometimes think they go into that gore and just that adult content too much. They dip into it too much, and so the fact that it's almost a joke, right? Whereas this keeps it very serious, and it keeps it real person-like, real. I wouldn't say relatable, because none of us have been in those kind of situations, but it makes it more serious in a sense. So I appreciate that so far. And yeah, the animation is a big point. I think if this had ended great but was still with poor animation, I think Palacio still would have been upset. But I think you can almost forgive and forget the rest of season 3 because of the last 2 episodes and how much better their animation was. So overall, I really liked season 3. It's a true test back to Return of Form. What would you guys give it out of 10? Just comparing it to like the other seasons.
Right, the other season would probably give it a solid 8.5, because I'm hoping that as it progresses, we'll get higher and higher.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say 8.5. I mean, if the only complaints we can make about a series is that it's not coming out fast enough and sometimes it doesn't look perfect with the animation, I mean, that means that the plot and what's actually happening is really good, and I'm enjoying every aspect of that, honestly.
Yep, I would say 9 out of 10. I'd say season 1 and 3 are pretty much on par. I like both a lot. I like season 3's story and like the fight scenes. They're just cooler, right? Season 1's a lot of build up, but season 1's animation's better than season 3, so they're very similar. Season 2 is probably the lowest at like a 7.5, right? Somewhere in that area. It's still good. And it's better as a binge, but if you were there watching it when it was coming out, it was a rough time. You had to wait like 3 months for the last 4 episodes, and that was a rough time to be an Invincible fan. But we're past that, and I'm happy, and I really enjoyed this. So if you guys haven't already, go check it out. This finale is really worth it. Season 3, I think, kind of like I said, return to form. If you're a fan of Invincible, you'll enjoy it. If you're not a fan of Invincible, I still think you'll enjoy it if you're just a nerdy superhero fan. So with all of that, we hope you guys enjoyed this video and podcast. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. If you guys are in podcast, don't forget to hit that follow and download. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.